Chicago bleeds slow in the winter, the kind of slow that seeps through concrete, hides in alleyways, and clings to steam rising from manhole covers. 1989, Southside. The city feels like a bruise. Wind cuts sharp off Lake Michigan, slicing between high-rise projects and crumbling row homes, howling through rusted playgrounds and chain-link fences. Snow doesn't fall in Southside. It sticks, dirty from the moment it touches ground, like even the weather knows this place isn't meant for beauty. That year, the Castellano name still meant something. Not to the cops, not to the politicians, but to the streets. The blocks where rules didn't come from laws, but from looks, from reputations, from stories whispered in barbershops and bar rooms. 5 brothers, all born within 7 years, all raised by Enzo Castellano, a butcher who taught his sons how to carve meat and how to carve out fear. He ruled Southside with cleavers and silence. Never touched a gun in his life, but his name kept 1,000 men awake at night. Now he was gone. Buried in Calvary Cemetery with no headstone, just a slab of concrete and a nameplate, already rusting. And his sons were trying to hold on to a kingdom built on fear, loyalty, and memories that no one cared about anymore. Vincent is the oldest, 37 years, leather coat, thick hands, voice like sandpaper. He doesn't talk unless it's final. Malcolm, 35, sharp jaw, good at reading people, bad at forgiving them. Then there's Deshawn, 33, the quiet one, the one who still visits their mother's grave on Sundays. Lamar, 31, runs the numbers game, always thinking 3 moves ahead unless liquor gets involved. And Isaiah, the youngest, 29, college dropout, church-raised, still carries guilt in his back pocket like a folded-up prayer. Together, they are what's left of the Castellano name. Together, they are trying to hold a line that no longer exists. The streets have changed. Turf is bought now, not earned. Kids who used to run errands for the brothers now roll their eyes and carry 22s in their waistbands. The new crew, young, cocky, dressed like they're in a music video, calls them ghosts, says the Castellanos are relics of a black and white world. The crew's leader, Andre Dre Parker, is 26 and already controls 5 blocks the Castellanos once owned. The brothers haven't said anything publicly, but silence doesn't mean surrender. Not in Chicago. It starts with a funeral. 2 men loyal to the Castellanos found dead in an alley behind 71st Street. Both shot twice in the chest, once in the mouth. Message received. At the service, Vincent says nothing, just stands over the caskets in a black coat that smells like cigarettes and cold rain. When asked what he's thinking, he replies with only one sentence. Dre just signed 10 death warrants. And just like that, the city exhales. The butcher shop is still there. 47 years old now. Faded red bricks and a neon sign that hasn't lit up since Reagan's first term. Castellanos Meats. Closed to the public, but open to the brothers. A meeting place, a memory, a mausoleum. Inside, the tiles are cracked, and the air smells like metal and old apologies. Vincent sits where their father used to sit, behind the counter, hands folded, eyes low. A leather Bible rests beside him. It's never been opened. They used to come here after school, helped Enzo slice beef, wrap sausages, scrub blood from the floors. He taught them more than butchery. He taught them patience. Never raise your voice, he said. Speak soft. Make them lean in to hear you. That's how you know they're listening. Vincent remembered every word. Malcolm's pacing. We're bleeding, he says. 2 soldiers dead, 2 blocks gone. And now Dre's crew is spraying our name like it's a punchline. Isaiah leans against the freezer door, arms crossed. Maybe we let it go. Maybe this is how things end, not with war, but with peace. Vincent doesn't look up. This city don't remember peace. It remembers who bled loudest. Deshawn speaks next, voice low. We do anything, it's gotta be quiet. Like the old days. No fireworks. Just silence and fear. Lamar pours bourbon into a coffee cup. This ain't the old days. These kids don't understand silence. They only respect noise. They argue for 20 minutes. About pride, about power, about what their father would have done. But none of it matters. Because deep down they know. This isn't about business anymore. It's about memory. And memory demands blood. Vincent stands. We don't talk to the cops. We don't call in favors. We don't make threats. We make examples. Malcolm nods. We got a list? Vincent pulls a folded paper from his coat. 10 names, written in ink that already looks like dried blood. Lamar whistles. All of them? All of them, Vincent says, one by one. We start clean. We end it when Dre begs. Deshawn looks uneasy. And if they hit back? They will, Vincent says. And when they do, we don't flinch. We finish it. No mercy, no hesitation. We bury the past by reminding them why our name used to matter. Isaiah's voice shakes slightly. This ain't justice. Vincent walks to him slowly, puts a hand on his shoulder. No, little brother. It's older than justice. Outside, snow begins to fall. Soft, slow, silent. The kind of snow that makes you forget the sound of gunfire. For now. Marcus, Tape Reynolds, dies on a Thursday. But the war starts long before that. It begins in the corners. The gas station on 67th and Halstead. The liquor store near the Blue Line stop. The side door of the barber shop where the real business gets done. Whispers carry. The Castellano brothers are back. The old men with old rules and old grudges, they ain't got soldiers like they used to. They ain't got money like they used to. But they've got memory. And memory's a dangerous thing in a city that forgets too fast. Dre's crew laughs it off at first. Ghosts, they say, leather coats and empty threats. But then the whispers grow teeth. Stories start circling. Marcus Reynolds didn't show up to his night shift at the car wash on Friday. His cousin found him on Saturday morning, in the back of a dive bar bathroom, with a chain wrapped twice around his neck, and the words, "You know why," carved into the stall door with a box cutter. No witnesses, no prints, just silence. Dre gathers his crew at a garage in Englewood, a half-lit space with a busted heater and the sharp scent of rubber and sweat. 10 men, all under 30, all carrying pistols they barely know how to clean, half of them high, all of them scared. Dre slams a wrench into the workbench. You hear me now? They think this is a movie. They think we soft. Marcus was family. That chain around his neck, that was a leash. No one speaks. Nobody wants to admit they're afraid. But fear is thick in the room, the kind you can taste. You see a Castellano, Dre says. You end him. But that's the thing. You don't see them. They move like smoke. One night, a car explodes outside a strip club on 93rd. Nobody's hurt, but it sends a message. Another night, one of Dre's runners comes home to find his door kicked in and his girl too scared to speak. Nothing taken, just the list. That folded piece of paper tacked to the bedroom wall with a steak knife. His name circled. Back at the butcher shop, Vincent watches the streets grow smaller. They're loud, Malcolm says. All of them. Like they think volume's a weapon. It is, Deshawn replies, for people who got nothing else. Vincent leans forward, lights a cigarette. Next name's Tone Lock Davis. Corner boy turned middleman. Thinks hiding in the laundromat'll save him. Lamar laughs, washing blood out his clothes before it's even spilled. Isaiah doesn't smile. What happens after all 10? He asks. Vincent looks out the window. Snow falls against the glass like ash. We rest, he says, but not before. And somewhere across the city, Dre's crew sleeps in shifts, locks their doors, checks their pistols twice. Because they're starting to believe. This isn't just revenge, and this is history pulling its gloves back on. The brothers never call the cops. Not when the blocks go quiet. Not when their men start dying. Not when the news trucks roll through with bright lights and empty questions. In Southside, justice isn't something you ask for, it's something you take. Tone Lock Davis is 25. Not smart, not tough, just lucky. He talks fast and moves faster, selling ounces for Dre and skimming his cut while pretending he ain't. He's been laying low since Marcus died. Stops using the barbershop, stops riding the Green Line, hides in the back of a 24-hour laundromat on Cottage Grove, washing his socks 4 times a day just to stay moving. But Vincent doesn't need movement, he needs a pattern, and every man has one. Tuesday night, temperature below 20. The laundromat's half dead, a radio crackles in the corner. Some slow jam station barely reaching the antenna. Tone Lock sits in the back row, hoodie up, eyes on the dryers. Doesn't see the van pull up, doesn't see the lights cut, doesn't see Deshawn step out with gloves on and a crowbar in hand. The attack is silent. Door locked behind him. Crowbar to the knees. One scream before the radio static swallows it. Vincent enters next, calm as ever, dragging a gas can like it's luggage. He doesn't speak, just pours. Tone Lock begs. Please, man, I ain't part of this. You were in the room, Vincent says. That ain't the same as pulling a trigger. It is 2 ghosts. The fire eats the laundromat in under 6 minutes. The blaze wakes the neighborhood. People film it from windows. But nobody calls the police until it's too late. The fire department finds charred bones in one of the machines. Nobody asks how he got in there. Nobody wants that answer. Dre hears the news by morning. He's in a parking lot standing in his socks because someone slashed his tires while he slept. The message is clear. You're not safe. None of you are. At the butcher shop, the brothers sit in silence. Smoke lingers in the air. Burnt cotton, gasoline, fear. Lamar pours himself a drink. That makes 2. Vincent nods. 8 to go. Isaiah slams his glass down. That's enough. They all look at him. It's not just them dying, he says. It's us. We're killing what's left of us. Malcolm shakes his head. They drew blood first. Isaiah leans forward, eyes on Vincent. Our father built this name to protect, not to butcher. Vincent meets his gaze. Our father built this name with meat hooks and fire. Silence. Outside, Chicago keeps breathing. Slow, cold, unbothered. But in the corners, in the alleys, in the fog of fear, a name is rising. Castellano. And the city remembers, even if it doesn't want to. They gather at dawn in the butcher shop, the smell of cold meat and old blood thick in the air. Outside, the wind howls against the glass, rattling the boarded-up window frames. The city is still asleep, save for the trains groaning above steel tracks and the occasional siren winding through the empty dark. Inside, the Castellano brothers sit around the same table where their father used to count cash in silence, where he once stitched a bullet wound in his own thigh with fishing wire and prayer. Now it is Vincent's voice that breaks the quiet, calm and sharp as a blade against bone. We don't kill women. We don't kill children. We don't touch cops or clergy. Everything else is open ground. His brothers nod. None of them question the list. Not now. The code has been burned into them since they were boys, sweeping floors after school. No innocent blood. No witnesses unless absolutely necessary. No names spoken aloud. These are the rules. Not because they make the job easier, but because the rules are the only thing that keep them from becoming what the city already believes they are. Isaiah leans back in his chair, arms crossed, jaw tight. He hasn't spoken much since the fire. His silence is heavier than any accusation, but Vincent lets it hang in the air. This war will be fought, whether the youngest brother wants it or not. Dre's next move is going to be desperation, Malcolm says. He knows we ain't going to stop. He'll push back. He has no discipline, Deshaun adds. He thinks retaliation makes him strong. All it does is make him noisy. Vincent smirks. Let him be noisy. We'll be quiet. Quieter than we've ever been. Lamar opens the back ledger and flips through the pages. His fingers trace names like rosary beads. Next is Tremaine Coleman. They call him Cork. Used to boost cars. Now he runs guns out the basement of his mother's house on 79th. He still live with his mother? Malcolm asks. He moved back in after the feds started watching him. Thinks being around her makes him untouchable. Vincent shakes his head. A man hiding behind a mother is still a man. Isaiah finally speaks. Then go after him when he ain't hiding. You show up at that house with her inside. You break the rules. Vincent doesn't respond right away. Just watches Isaiah like a man trying to remember who his brother used to be before all this started. Before loyalty got so tangled up in vengeance that they could no longer tell one from the other. Cork dies when the house is empty, Vincent says. No collateral. We wait. We watch. And when he slips, we remind him that hiding delays death. It doesn't prevent it. They move that night. No fanfare. No speeches. Malcolm and Deshawn stake out the house in a rusted van with busted heat and fogged windows. They sip burnt coffee and trade memories from before things went sour. Malcolm recalls a night when their father came home with blood on his knuckles and told them, "You don't kill a man for disrespecting you. You kill him for thinking he could." Deshawn doesn't respond. He just watches the lights go out in Cork's house at 2 a.m. and waits for the back door to open. Cork emerges at 2:23, alone. Sweatshirt hood up, pistol tucked in his waistband, backpack slung over one shoulder. He walks toward the alley where his car is parked. Malcolm steps out from behind the dumpster. Cork freezes, hand twitching toward the pistol. Deshawn appears behind him, gun already drawn. "Don't," Malcolm says. "Just don't." Cork opens his mouth, maybe to plead, maybe to pray. But Malcolm shoots him, once in the stomach, then again in the chest. Deshawn drags the body to the back seat of the car, wipes down the scene. By 2:45, they're gone. The car is left idling in front of an abandoned church on 91st and South Vernon. When the body is found the next morning, there's a butcher knife on the passenger seat. No fingerprints, just one word carved into the blade's handle: Castellano. There is no ceremony in how the list is made. No special paper, no typewriter, no blood ink or firelight. Just Vincent at the butcher counter with a dull pencil and an old receipt pad. He writes the names one by one, slow and deliberate, like each letter is a nail being driven into pine. 10 names, no nicknames, no addresses, just the kind of list you don't need to reread because you already know it by heart. He pins the list to the wall behind the meat hooks, next to a photograph of their father in his apron, holding a cleaver like a holy relic. Every time they leave for a job, Vincent touches the photo, not because he believes in ghosts, but because he believes in approval. The brothers study the list together that night. Each name is a moment, a face, a laugh, a handshake that turned into betrayal. The 10 men were part of Dre's rise. Some gave him guns, some gave him turf. One gave him intel on where to find the 2 Castellano soldiers that were ambushed. None of them expected consequences. That was their mistake. The third name, Malcolm says, is Devin Carter. He's Dre's cousin. He lives with his grandmother, Lamar adds, takes care of her, real quiet, real cautious. Deshawn looks uncomfortable. He never touched a trigger. He delivered the message, Vincent replies, told people we were finished. That makes him part of it. Isaiah doesn't argue. He's past arguing. He just watches the faces of his brothers and wonders how many nights are left before none of them recognize each other anymore. They wait 3 nights. No movement. Then the call comes. Devin's at a warehouse party on the west side celebrating his birthday. Vincent decides it ends tonight. They enter the building through the back, a side door wedged open with a broken brick. The party inside is loud. Bass shaking the windows, fog machine hissing, red light strobing like a wound. The brothers move through the crowd like ghosts in heavy coats. Nobody notices until the music cuts, and Devin's smile disappears. He tries to run, Doesn't make it far. They don't kill him in front of the crowd. They pull him into the back hall where the air smells like mildew and bleach. Vincent looks him in the eye. You remember what you said about us? Devin's voice breaks. I didn't mean it. I was drunk. Vincent nods once, shoots him twice. One in the chest, one in the head. They leave before the screaming starts. And later, when the list is checked back at the shop, Vincent draws a line through the third name, 7 left, and the war is only getting quieter. He was the first name on the list, but not the first to die. The brothers needed to wait, had to make sure the streets were listening, had to remind people that a name like Castellano didn't fade just because the city forgot how to whisper it. So they started with Marcus Tape Reynolds, not because he was the most dangerous, but because he was the loudest. The kind of man who told stories with other people's blood. The kind who laughed too hard when the 2 Castellano soldiers were found face down behind that liquor store, bodies stiff from the cold, mouths packed with dollar bills. Tape had swagger. The gold fronts, the tracksuit too shiny for winter, the pistol tucked just loose enough to flash whenever he turned. He ran his mouth like it was a weapon. Said the brothers were too old to matter. Said Vincent was nothing but a myth in a long coat. Said Southside belonged to Dre now. And anyone who thought different could meet him on the corner of 69th and Halsted. Vincent took that personally. They watched Tape for 3 nights before they made their move. Found his rhythm, late-night dice games at the back of Rico's bar, cheap whiskey and cheaper bravado, women hanging on his arm like he was royalty. On the 4th night, Vincent walked into that bar like he owned it. No mask, no gun drawn, just a presence that made the room quieter as he passed. Tape didn't see him until the 3rd drink. When he did, he smiled, slow, wide, like someone who hadn't read the room correctly. Ain't this a ghost? He said, loud enough for people to hear, loud enough to make it a test. What you want, old man? You lost? Vincent didn't answer, just walked past him into the bathroom, locked the door, waited. And like they knew he would, Tape followed. Maybe he thought it was a conversation. Maybe he thought it would end with a laugh and a story to tell. What he found was Vincent with gloves on and a chain in his hands. No words. Just 5 seconds of struggle. And silence. The chain tightened around Tape's neck. Gold fronts flashing in the flickering bathroom light. Hands clawing at the air, like it might give him something to hold on to. Vincent didn't blink. When it was over, he laid the body flat, folded Tape's hands over his chest, and stuffed that same dollar bill back into his mouth. On the mirror, written in soap, was one word: first. By the time anyone noticed, Vincent was already back at the butcher shop, washing his hands beneath water too cold for comfort. Malcolm stood beside him, silent. Deshawn leaned against the wall, arms crossed. No celebration, no relief. Just a quiet knowing that things had finally begun. You think they'll get the message? Deshawn asked. Vincent didn't look up. They already did. Across the city, Dre paced in his apartment, staring at a photograph of Tape and him taken 2 years earlier. He was smiling in the picture. So was Tape. Both of them younger, hungrier, still believing there were rules. Now Dre looked older, not in his face, in his eyes. "They're coming for all of us," he said. His right-hand man Rico shrugged. "Then we hit back." Dre didn't answer, because deep down, he already knew. You don't hit back at ghosts, you just run. Or you wait your turn. Chicago never stops moving. Not for bodies, not for names, not even for ghosts. The trains still run. The streets still hum with life. People still hustle, still bargain, still bleed. But in the days after Marcus Reynolds' death, the city grows quieter. In strange places, the corners where Dre's crew used to laugh now carry tension like static. Conversations lower, eyes shift, doors close, faster. It's like the wind has changed directions and everyone can feel it. Vincent walks the blocks with Malcolm now. No soldiers, no entourage, just the two of them, dressed in black, quiet as funeral men. They don't speak unless spoken to. They don't threaten, they don't bargain. They just walk. And that alone is enough to make people scatter. Word spreads faster than fire. Not just that Tape is dead, but how he died. That Vincent looked him in the face. That he didn't run, didn't hide. That he left the body like a question only one man could answer. And everyone knows who that man is. Dre doesn't leave his place for 3 nights. He drinks too much, keeps his pistol in the waistband of his sweatpants like it's armor. But fear doesn't hide in the corners. It sits right in the center of the room. "We should go with them," Rico says. "Take the fight to them. Show them we ain't scared." Dre lights another cigarette. Doesn't respond. "You hear me?" "I hear you," Dre says. "So what's the move?" Dre exhales slow. "There ain't no move. Not yet." "Why not?" "Because this ain't about territory. This ain't about corners or weight or soldiers. This is about memory." Rico stares. "What does that even mean?" Dre finishes the cigarette. "It means the dead ain't done talking." Elsewhere, Isaiah watches the news with the sound off. There's no mention of Marcus Reynolds, no photo, no investigation. Just the scrolling list of other names, other victims, other bodies. In Southside, Tape's death is just one more rumor on the wind. Just another hole in the concrete. Isaiah feels it deep in his chest, that hollow space where faith used to live. He opens his Bible, not to read, but just to hold it. The pages are worn, the spine cracked. He doesn't believe the book can save them, but he still believes in rules. And rules, like prayers, only matter if you say them out loud. That night he writes his brothers a letter. No accusations, no anger, just this: "We used to be protectors. Now we're executioners. If we cross every name off that list, who will we be when it's over?" He leaves it on Vincent's desk before him, slipping out into the night. By morning, the letter is gone. And a new name is circled on the butcher paper behind the counter. Lamar loads his pistol in silence. Deshaun checks the van's gas. Malcolm sharpens his blade. 7 names remain. And the city keeps breathing like nothing's changed. But everyone who knows, everyone who remembers, knows the truth. Chicago is holding its breath. And when it exhales, it will not be gently. He never thought they'd come for him. Not Tone Lock. Not the man who always played the middle. who smiled too wide and talked his way out of everything. He wasn't a trigger man. He wasn't on the front lines. He just made things move. Guns mostly. Pills when the market asked for them. Cash in both directions. Information when the price was right. He wore cologne too loud and shoes too white. Always walking fast like speed could make him untouchable. But the list didn't care how fast you moved. The list, just waited. Tonelock spent his days in fright. A laundromat now, not working, hiding, washing the same 3 shirts over and over just to have somewhere to be that wasn't the block. He knew Marcus was gone. Knew it by how quiet the phones got. Knew it by how Dre didn't answer texts. Knew it by the ache in his gut that no whiskey could numb. He sat near the dryers every day, back against the wall, hood up, pistol tucked behind a stack of folded towels. A grown man shrinking into routine, as if habit alone could protect him. But routine is how they found him. Deshaun watched from across the street for 3 nights. Coffee in a thermos, gloves in his lap, face unreadable. Vincent didn't even need to speak, just nodded on the 4th night. They went in at 2:17 in the morning. Door propped with a broken mop handle. Lights still flickering. Static playing from a busted radio behind the counter. The place smelled like bleach and desperation. Tonelock didn't hear them until it was too late. By then, Deshaun was already inside. Malcolm behind him. Vincent in the alley waiting for the flash. Tonelock reached for his pistol, but his legs didn't respond. The first shot was to the knee. He screamed. The second hit the other leg. Screamed louder. Blood spread fat across the tile, crawling under the machines like it was trying to escape. "I didn't do nothing," he choked out, trying to breathe through pain. "You knew," Deshaun said. "I didn't pull no trigger." "You don't have to pull it to be part of it." Malcolm grabbed the gas can, poured it slow, over the counters, into the baskets, across Tonelock's legs. "Please," he said. "Please. I got a daughter." "You should have thought about that before the money," Malcolm said. Vincent struck the match outside, let it burn between his fingers before tossing it through the open door. The fire spread fast, bright orange against the midnight cold. They were gone before the sirens came. By sunrise, the only thing left was black, ash and a whisper of smoke curling into the sky. Fire department called it faulty wiring. Nobody asked too many questions. At the butcher shop, Malcolm crossed the second name off the list. Isaiah didn't come home that night. And Dre watched the news without turning up the volume. He already knew what it would say. The city no longer doubted. The deaths weren't accidents. They weren't turf disputes. This was targeted, intentional, personal. It was the past coming back with purpose, and it was moving faster. The next 2 names were always meant to be taken together. Darius Smoke Wilkins and Jamal Jinx Howard, best friends since grade school, ran together, hustled together, laughed like they'd never die. They'd been part of the ambush that killed the Castellano soldiers, watched the blood pool under streetlights, didn't even flinch. That night they drank and toasted to the future. But futures have a cost, and the brothers were ready to collect. Vincent wanted this one loud, not sloppy, just unmistakable. A message written in bodies. Let Dre know the war had no brakes. They found Smoke and Jinx at a pool hall on 83rd and Dorchester. A favorite spot. No security, no cameras, just faded green tables and a jukebox stuck on Al Green. They walked in around midnight. Vincent, Malcolm, and Lamar. Heavy coats, gloves, nothing fancy, nothing rushed. Smoke saw them first, froze mid-break. Jinx laughed, not knowing what was about to come. Vincent walked to the middle of the room, stared at them like he was counting their sins. "We're closed," Smoke said, trying to smile. "You never paid the tab," Vincent replied. 3 shots rang out. Smoke fell first. 2 to the chest, 1 to the neck. Jinx tried to run, but Malcolm caught him by the jacket, threw him onto a table. The felt soaked red fast. He begged, swore he didn't pull the trigger, swore he just watched. Vincent didn't speak. He just raised the gun and fired once. Silence followed. Nobody else in the pool hall moved. Everyone knew what was happening. Nobody called the cops. Not yet. Not until the brothers left. Steps slow. Coats swinging like pendulums. Outside, the air was sharp. Vincent lit a cigarette with blood still on his gloves. 4 down, he said. Lamar adjusted his collar. This ain't a war anymore. Malcolm looked at him. What is it then? Lamar didn't answer. Back at the butcher shop, Isaiah was waiting. Hadn't left. Just been quiet. Watching. Waiting for the line to be crossed. He read the news. Knew where it was going. "You're proud of this?" he asked. Vincent didn't look at him. Just went to the back room and crossed off 2 more names. Isaiah left before sunrise. No goodbyes. Just silence. And in another part of the city, Dre sat with his head in his hands, surrounded by men who now realized they were not soldiers. They were names, just names on a list written by ghosts. Isaiah never imagined it would go this far. Not when Vincent first said the words. Not when the list was written. Not when the first name was crossed out. He told himself it would be quick, clean, necessary. But nothing about this has been clean. Every kill leaves a weight, and every weight pulls them further from the people they used to be. He sits in the back room of the butcher shop, the same room where their father once taught him how to sharpen a blade. He remembers Enzo's voice, slow and steady. A dull blade causes pain. A sharp one ends it. He remembers thinking that was about meat. Now he knows it was about people. Outside, Vincent is cleaning a pistol. There's no urgency to it, just routine, like he's brushing his teeth or tying his shoes. Malcolm paces by the door, agitated. Lamar drinks from a chipped mug, staring at the floor. Deshaun doesn't speak anymore unless he's asked a direct question. The silence between them is starting to feel permanent. Isaiah clears his throat. This is the last one I'm doing. The room stops. Vincent doesn't look up, just clicks the slide into place. I mean it, Isaiah says. I'm out. You were never in, Lamar mutters. Isaiah ignores him. We've crossed the line. Maybe not with Marcus, maybe not with Tone Lock, but Smoke and Jinx. That was murder. Vincent finally looks at him. What do you think this is? I thought this was justice, Isaiah says. Now it feels like performance. We're putting on a show for a city that ain't even watching. They're watching, Vincent says. They're just pretending not to. Isaiah shakes his head. You think this ends with Dre? It doesn't. It ends with us in the dirt or in a cage. And for what? So people remember our name for another winter? Malcolm steps forward. They killed our men. That wasn't just disrespect, that was declaration. And we answered, Isaiah says. But this list, this war, it's killing us. Vincent stands. The room shrinks. The air feels heavier. Then leave, he says. You want peace? Go find it. But don't come back when the world forgets your name. Don't come back when they take everything from you and leave you begging for memory. Isaiah nods. He's not angry, just tired. He picks up his coat, folds the letter he wrote days ago, and places it on the counter. I'm going to church, he says. Not for forgiveness, just to remember who I was. He walks out into the snow, and no one follows. Later that night, the fifth name is crossed out. No one says his name. And Isaiah, 5 miles away, lights a candle in the back pew of a church that hasn't heard his voice in 5 years. He was barely old enough to drink, 17 when he started running product for Dre, 19 now, cocky and clueless, more swagger than sense. They called him Lil Reek because he always wore too much cologne, a heavy musk that stuck to him like sweat. He posted on corners with his music too loud and his gun too visible. Thought that made him dangerous, thought that made him untouchable. But in the eyes of the Castellano brothers, he was just another name, a boy who talked too much after Smoke and Jinx were buried, a boy who laughed too loud when Vincent's name was brought up, a boy who thought the rules didn't apply to him. Vincent debated skipping him, a kid barely out of high school. But Lamar insisted. He ran lookout during the ambush. He spotted our guys, called it in. He ain't innocent. Deshaun stayed silent, but the look in his eyes said he agreed. Malcolm didn't even hesitate. He dies. So they planned it. Reek hung out on 72nd and Green. Same stoop every night, same crew, same pattern. Lamar found the angle. A rooftop across the street. Line of sight clear. Sound would echo off the buildings and vanish into the night. A single shot. No conversation. No message. Just silence. But it didn't go that way. Reek wasn't alone. They got there late. His crew had already dipped, but he was still there, standing with a girl. Maybe a cousin. Maybe just a friend. They were laughing, trading something back and forth. Vincent cursed under his breath. We wait. Then Reek pulled away, walked to the curb to light a cigarette. The girl turned, phone in hand. The shot rang out before she could look back. 1 bullet. Headshot. He dropped like a bag of laundry. The girl screamed. Lights came on. Doors opened. Chaos bloomed. Vincent was gone before the sirens arrived. But someone caught it on tape. A security camera, old and grainy, mounted on a liquor store that hadn't worked right in 3 years. But that night, it did. The footage hit the streets before dawn. A dark figure, a quick movement, a kid collapsing. And in the freeze frame, just before the shot, Reek's face, young, laughing, alive. Dre watched the clip in silence, didn't speak for a long time. Then he turned to Rico. We hit back. How hard? Rico asked. Dre looked down at the phone. We burn it all. Back at the butcher shop, Vincent watched the same footage. Malcolm poured whiskey. Too messy. Lamar looked anxious. The girl saw everything. Deshawn didn't speak. Vincent crossed out Reek's name. Then he stared at the list, the last 5 names. They know we're coming, he said. And Isaiah? Deshawn asked. Vincent lit a cigarette. He made his choice. Outside, the snow kept falling, but now it felt less like winter and more like ash. Vincent finds the letter just after sunrise, tucked beneath the drawer where Isaiah used to keep his gloves. The paper is folded once, creased neatly down the middle, like a confession held too long. There's no salutation, no signature, just ink pressed hard into the lines, like the words were written through clenched teeth. This is not justice. You know that. I'm not saving myself. I'm saving what's left of you. The shop is silent. Outside, Chicago exhales under a gray sky, cold and wide. Inside, Vincent reads the letter twice, then again. His hands do not shake, but something in his jaw tightens, like a man forcing himself not to bleed. Malcolm is the first to arrive. He smells the tension before he sees it. What happened? Vincent holds up the letter without a word. Lamar reads it next, mutters something that sounds like betrayal but tastes more like fear. You think he went to the cops? Vincent doesn't answer. Instead, he moves to the freezer door, pulls it open like a priest pulling open a confessional, and stares into the frozen air. Deshawn arrives last. His eyes fall on the paper, and he doesn't ask questions. He just exhales slowly like he's been expecting this. He's not trying to ruin us, Deshawn says. He's trying to stop us. He's trying to bury us, Lamar snaps. You know what happens if that list falls into the wrong hands? Malcolm is pacing now. If he gave it to the cops, he didn't, Vincent says. You don't know that. I do. Silence returns like a tide. Then Vincent folds the letter, places it in the drawer where he found it, and closes it with a soft click. Doesn't matter what he's doing, he says. He made his choice. What do we do? Lamar asks. We finish, Vincent says. And just like that, the betrayal becomes background noise. Another weight they carry, another ghost in the room. But across the city, Isaiah is not hiding. He's walking into a precinct with tired eyes and cold hands. The officer behind the desk barely looks up. Another young man with something heavy in his chest. I need to speak with someone, Isaiah says. About what? About stopping a war. The officer raises an eyebrow but still doesn't care. You got an appointment? No. Then take a seat. So he does. And he waits. Hours pass. Paperwork shuffles. Phones ring. But no one calls his name. No one offers him a room. No one cares what he has to say. Because Southside stories don't start in precincts. They end there. At sunset, Isaiah stands and walks out. No one stops him. Outside, the wind has changed. The city smells like something broken. He lights a cigarette he doesn't intend to finish and wonders if maybe he's too late. Back at the butcher shop, Vincent marks another name. 5 remain. But none of them are as dangerous as the one that walked away. The pool hall smells like sweat, old wood, and something sharp beneath the surface, maybe bleach, maybe fear. Vincent stands at the doorway, eyes scanning the room like a hunter studying a herd. He doesn't speak, doesn't need to. The air bends around him like gravity. The 2 targets sit at the far table, backs to the wall. Nate 9 Lives Morgan and Ray Pitch Samuels. The nickname came from stories, bullet wounds that didn't kill, close calls, near misses. But Vincent knows better. No man lives 9 lives. Every man lives 1 and ends it. They don't recognize him right away. It's been too long. And he's wearing the coat. Then Malcolm enters. Then Deshawn. Lamar closes the door behind them. The room quiets. Vincent steps forward. Dre says hello. It's the only warning they get. The gunfire is quick, precise. 3 shots each. 1 to the chest, 1 to the throat, 1 to the head. No screaming, no chaos. Just silence and smoke. The brothers leave through the back, into the freezing wind, moving like shadows stitched to the dark. Back at the butcher shop, Vincent draws 2 more lines through the names. 3 remain. But something's changed, because now Dre knows who's next, and Vincent wants him to. The city doesn't wake up to the sound of sirens. It wakes to silence, stretched thick across the south side like a sheet pulled over something dead. Nobody says it, but everyone feels it. Something's shifting. The air is heavier. The cold doesn't just bite. Now it hangs, pressing down like warning. 3 more names have been crossed off the list. And everyone who matters knows who's next. Dre hasn't left his apartment in 4 days. The blinds stay closed. The gun never leaves his waistband. Rico has stopped asking questions, but his eyes speak in paragraphs. He wants out. So do the rest of them. Dre can feel it. They're waiting for him to crack, to disappear like the others. But he's not going to vanish. He's going to hit back. They want ghosts, Dre mutters, pacing the floor. We'll give them something to haunt. Rico watches him from the couch, shoulders tense, 1 foot tapping against the hardwood. You sure about this? I was born sure, Dre snaps. What about Isaiah? He made his bed. Dre opens a duffel bag and starts loading it. Pistols, ammo, gloves. He moves like someone who's already decided what the ending looks like. He isn't thinking in survival anymore. He's thinking in legacy. The plan is simple. Quick. Bloody. They know where the brothers move, what routes they take. And they know where Malcolm goes every Sunday morning. The church on 94th and Prairie. It's quiet, predictable, just like him. They wait across the street, inside a parked Lincoln with blacked-out windows. The engine stays off. No music, no talking, just the sound of breath and time. When Malcolm walks out of the church, his coat folded over his arm, the wind tossing his collar. Dre doesn't hesitate. He steps out, raises the pistol with both hands, and fires. 3 shots. 2 miss. The third finds its mark. Malcolm stumbles, drops to his knees, then falls face first onto the concrete steps. Blood spreads across the stone like a shadow unraveling. Screams echo from inside the church. The world slows. Dre doesn't wait to confirm. He runs. Back at the butcher shop, Vincent answers the call with ice in his veins. He doesn't speak, just listens, just absorbs. Then he hangs up and sits down. No shaking, no fury, just stillness. Deshawn is the first to break. Was it Dre? Vincent nods once. Lamar slams a bottle against the wall, shards scattering across the tiles. We were too slow. Isaiah arrives an hour later. Face pale, eyes rimmed red. He doesn't ask for details. He already knows. Where is he? He asks. Vincent stands. He's next. Deshawn wipes his hands on a towel, voice low and steady. We end it now. No, Vincent says. We bury him first. The funeral is held 3 days later. Closed casket. Minimal words. Just family and silence. A photo of Malcolm as a boy is placed on the casket. He's smiling in it, holding a baseball glove too big for his hand. Vincent stares at that photo longer than he does the box. Afterwards, they return to the butcher shop. No one speaks for a long time. Then Vincent moves to the back wall, picks up a piece of chalk, and circles the next name. Dre. The rest of the list doesn't matter now. There's only one name left that means anything. The man's name is Clarence. Most people know him as Red. He owns a barber shop on 71st and Ashland, a place where the clippers never stop buzzing, and the news is passed quicker than cash. Red's been cutting hair for 30 years, touched every head on the block. He remembers when Vincent was just a quiet kid with fists too tight and eyes too dark. He was also in the room the night the Castellano soldiers were killed, not holding a weapon, not giving orders, just watching, just sitting in a corner, pretending not to see what he saw. Isaiah argues that it doesn't make him guilty, that a man can be present without being part of it. But Vincent disagrees. Presence is permission. Silence is complicity. And memory demands balance. They don't plan it like the others. There's no recon, no stakeout, no rooftop sniper. Vincent just walks in on a Tuesday afternoon, a coat draped over his arm, and a stillness in his posture that makes the whole shop freeze. Red looks up from his chair, straight razor in hand, mid-shave on a teenage boy. Vince, he says quietly, like someone trying to calm a dog before it bites. Vincent doesn't answer. He nods toward the boy. Send him out. Red's eyes flick to the door, then back to Vincent. The boy stands up, uncertain. Go on, Red says. Come back later. The door chimes as it closes. The shop is empty now, just the two of them, and the smell of talc, aftershave, and fear. I didn't do nothing, Red says, putting the razor down. You didn't stop it, Vincent replies. I couldn't. You didn't try. Red steps back, hands up. I'm not one of them. I'm just a man who cuts hair. You were in the room. Vincent draws his pistol. Slow. Calm. Red's voice trembles. You kill me. You break your father's code. He had rules. So do I. One shot. It echoes off the walls louder than it should. Vincent holsters the gun and walks out before the blood finishes pooling. Back at the shop, Isaiah is waiting. You did it? He asks. Vincent doesn't answer. Just moves to the list. Crosses off the 8th name. Isaiah steps forward. He didn't deserve that. He was there. He was afraid. Vincent turns, eyes hard. So are we all. Outside, the city is bracing for something it cannot name. Everyone can feel it. The shift. The wind. The reckoning. And inside the butcher shop, 2 names remain. But only one matters now. Dre Parker. The end is circling, and no one is walking away clean. The 9th and 10th names on the list are Corey Blitz Walton and Kevin Keys Mathis. They are the last of Dre's lieutenants, the final thread tying the war to its beginning. These 2 were there at the start, there when the Castellano name was first challenged, when blood first hit the pavement, when the rules were first broken. They aren't just survivors of this war. They are architects of it. And unlike the others, they haven't run. They've gone underground, yes, but they haven't left Chicago. They're hiding in a house on the West End, one they grew up in, one their mothers used to share, back when the neighborhood still believed in block parties and borrowed sugar. Vincent finds them through an old favor. One of their own, afraid, calls in a whisper. They're holed up together. Haven't left in days. Got food stacked, guns stacked, waiting for it to come. It's a trap, maybe, or it's desperation, doesn't matter. Vincent hears the address and doesn't write it down. He knows he won't need to remember it long. They go in quiet. Deshawn drives. Lamar carries the sawed off. Vincent rides in the back, silent, the list folded in his coat like scripture. Isaiah stays behind. He doesn't ask to come, doesn't try to stop it. He just stands in the doorway of the butcher shop as they leave, eyes hollow. The house sits between 2 boarded-up duplexes. There are no lights on inside, no movement in the windows, but they know someone's there. The silence is too perfect. They breach at 3:15 in the morning. Front door, fast and brutal. Vincent goes in first, followed by Lamar. Deshawn covers the rear. The place smells like dust and sweat and fear. They find Blitz and Keys in the kitchen. No gunfire, no yelling. Just 2 men sitting at the table like they've been waiting for judgment. Blitz looks up first. He's thinner than Vincent remembers. Face drawn, eyes sunken. I knew you'd come, he says. Vincent doesn't respond. Keys pours himself a drink. His hand doesn't shake. You want the whole story? He asks. You want to hear why? Vincent lowers his weapon slightly. Tell me. Keys leans back. We were tired of being told what to do. Tired of the old names running things, like it was 1960. You ruled through silence. We wanted to speak. Vincent nods. And you spoke with blood. Keys raises his glass. That's the only language this city understands. Deshawn moves closer. So what now? Blitz looks at Keys, then back at Vincent. You kill us together. That's the only way this ends. Vincent sets his gun on the table. I have 1 bullet, he says. Blitz frowns. Then what? I'll leave it here. 1 bullet. 1 gun. You decide. He turns and walks out. Deshawn follows. Lamar hesitates, then moves too. Inside, Blitz and Keys stare at the weapon. Neither speaks. Back at the butcher shop, Vincent crosses out the 9th and 10th names. No one asks how it ended, because some endings write themselves, and others are left in silence. The snow is almost gone now. The city exhales into thaw, and with it, the final ghost rises. Dre hasn't slept in 2 days. He paces his apartment like a man trapped inside a dream he can't control. Rico is gone. The crew is gone. The lieutenants are either dead or disappeared. Blitz and Keys haven't answered their phones. And Isaiah hasn't shown his face. It's just him now. Just the man at the top of a mountain built on noise. But the noise has stopped. And all that's left is the knock on the door. 3 soft raps, then silence. He knows who it is before he opens it. Vincent stands in the hallway dressed in black, no gun in hand, no threat in his posture, just presence, cold and still and inevitable. You alone? Dre asks. Vincent nods. Then do it, Dre says. Whatever you came to do, do it. Vincent steps inside, closes the door behind him. The apartment is clean, too clean, like someone trying to erase himself before death. I came to talk, Vincent says. Dre laughs, a hollow thing. Now you want to talk? Vincent sits, looks at the man across from him. The boy, really, barely 30. Smart, angry, built for survival, not for legacy. We started the same, Vincent says. Both wanted something this city wouldn't give. I didn't want a kingdom, Dre replies. I just didn't want to answer to ghosts. You made your own. Dre looks away. So what now? You kill me? Vincent shakes his head. No. Dre blinks. Then why are you here? Vincent reaches into his coat, pulls out the list. It's wrinkled now, stained. Only 1 name left uncrossed. I came to give you this. Dre stares at it. That's it? Vincent nods. That's it. He stands, walks to the door. Dre doesn't stop him. Back at the shop, Isaiah is waiting. His clothes are clean. His eyes clearer than they've been in weeks. Did you do it? No, Vincent says. Isaiah exhales. That mean it's over? Vincent shrugs. That's not up to me. They stand in silence. Then Isaiah places something on the counter. A photograph. Malcolm, as a boy. The same one from the funeral. We lost too much, he says. We always do, Vincent replies. Deshawn and Lamar enter, quiet. No celebration, no closure, just gravity, just wait. Vincent turns to them. We're done. Lamar asks, what about the shop? We keep it open. Deshawn frowns. For what? Vincent stares at the meat hooks, the tiles, the ghosts. For memory. Days pass, then weeks. Dre disappears. Some say he fled the city. Others say he's underground, waiting, But no one hears from him again. Isaiah returns to church. Lamar starts running numbers again, smaller this time. Deshaun spends mornings at the cemetery, coffee in one hand, silence in the other. And Vincent? He stays. At the butcher shop, every day. Opens at 7, closes at 6. Cuts meat in silence. One day a kid comes in, maybe 15, eyes sharp, voice soft. "You Castellano?" Vincent nods. "My uncle used to talk about you, said you were the last real one." Vincent doesn't reply. The kid hesitates. "Can I learn?" Vincent stares at him, then hands him an apron. No kings in Chicago. Only ghosts, only names, and those who remember them.